What you should never do abroad. Americans keep making these mistakes, and I've seen it over and over again in my 21 years of living abroad. I've traveled to over 60 countries, lived 2 decades in Italy, and I've seen how a few bad habits can ruin a trip fast. And hey, let's be honest, I've made plenty of these mistakes myself. Some of these blunders will empty your wallet, others will embarrass you in front of locals, and one nearly left me stranded at the Tel Aviv airport. I'll get to that story in a minute. But first, let's go over those mistakes Americans keep making over and over abroad so you don't repeat them. Only visiting the big cities. Most Americans will go to Paris, London, Rome, and think they've seen Europe. But they miss out on the small villages, the local festivals, and that charm that makes travel meaningful. And it's the same way in places like Southeast Asia. They'll go to Koh Samui or Phuket and never get off the beaten path. So explore, meet the locals in those places the guidebooks don't talk about. Talking louder when people don't understand English, but shouting doesn't translate. So on your way to your destination, try to learn 4 or 5 words from the local language. You'll be shocked at how far please and thank you go. And I always try to do this even when I'm at the location. It's my way of connecting and conversing with the locals. Every time I purchase something or I order a plate of food, I ask them, can you explain how do I say thank you in your language? You make new friends doing this and you're trying to learn the language. They appreciate that. Ignoring cultural dress codes, but showing up at that mosque or that temple in shorts makes you a tourist. So always pack a scarf or some lightweight pants. It saves you from embarrassment and earns respect. Over tipping or tipping the wrong way. In some cases, tipping 20% is not only unnecessary, it can be insulting. And thankfully, in most other countries outside the United States, this tipping culture doesn't exist. So always check with local customs on your way to your destination or ask around when you get there. Sometimes rounding up is enough. Paying in US dollars instead of local currency, but that would you like to pay in dollars option at the hotel or with a local tour guide seems easy. So you'll end up paying 20 or 30% more than you would had you used local currency. And frankly, I find when you go to a country and you're waving around US dollars and asking to pay in US dollars, well, it shows you haven't done your homework and makes us Americans kind of look ignorant. So make sure your credit card works abroad. Take your bank card so you can withdraw cash as soon as you're at a bank machine abroad. And consider, in some countries like China, it's almost all electronic, using either WeChat or Apple Pay. Booking the cheapest hotel in the worst location, but you'll waste 2 hours a day commuting back and forth just to save $50 a night. So sometimes, almost all the times, it's worth paying for the location. And a little side story recently, when I was in Italy, I needed a place near the Rome train station, Termini. I had a lot of bags and I wanted to make sure I was super close to the train station. The hotels around there are around €200 a night, minimum. But you know what? I paid it because for that convenience, it's worth it. Saves me from dragging my bags across the city or paying extra for a taxi to get me there. Assuming Uber works everywhere, but Uber isn't common or legal in many other places of the world. So you'll need the local apps or cash on hand or credit card and go to the taxi stand. I got a story for you. When I was in China on that big island down in the south, Hainan, famous for its coconuts, I was there in the capital of Haikou, the capital of the island, and exploring it, checking it out, having dinner. Then at the end of the evening, I needed to get back to my hotel near the airport. I negotiated a price with the taxi driver at the taxi stand using Google Translation app, and we were on our way. I think it's around 100 RMB. Does that sound right? Midway, he stops at this gas station, closed, late at night, and says through Google Translate, "I need to pay more." I said, "No, we agreed on 100. We stood there in a standoff, arguing back and forth for a long time, and he finally continued to where we were going at the same price. That was back before China's main ride-hailing app, Didi, existed, and I learned about that on subsequent trips to China. I love traveling in and around China. In Southeast Asia, well, they use Grab. Just be aware, Uber won't cover you worldwide. Not checking your visa or entry rules properly. But Americans often assume their US passport is enough. So they can get denied at the airport or worse. You remember that story where I nearly got stranded at the Tel Aviv airport? Well, I ended up getting stranded for about 12 hours. I was visiting Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, way down in the south, Eilat, also into Palestine. We had a big night out drinking in, I think, Jerusalem's only Irish bar. It was great. Me and my friend Aaron showed up at the airport the next morning, and no, I wasn't badly hungover. Well, I was, but that wasn't the problem. Went through security. They have a lot of security there. Went up to the ticket desk, gave them my ticket, and they said, "No, you're not on this flight." This was April 20th. "You're on the flight for May 20th. I'm like, "What?" So I didn't check my travel dates properly on my ticket through the company I'd booked with. They'd made the mistake. And I rushed off, and she said, "If you rush off, you're able to book on the next flight in about 10 or 12 hours. I did. I paid a lot of money, but I made sure I was out of Israel. So don't make the mistake of not checking visa requirements, your ticket dates, and entry requirements before you travel. By the way, if you want more of these travel stories, travel tips, and hacks, I'm putting out a regular email newsletter with all sorts of travel information, what I'm up to, and some things that might help you out as well. Also, if you want to help me out and if you're enjoying the video, please give it a thumbs up, a like down below. And also, I see a lot of you aren't yet subscribed, so click that subscribe button down below. That way you're not going to miss out on any of my upcoming videos, and you're helping me grow the channel, get these videos out to other food and travel lovers like ourselves. Thank you. Overscheduling every day. But Americans think more cities equals better trip. So they come home exhausted, cranky, and barely remember what they saw. Everything was a blur. Sometimes less is more. You know, on a recent trip to Thailand, I wanted to go to Phuket, Koh Samui, Bangkok, Chiang Mai. I only had about 2 weeks. Then I realized, you know what? It's better just to hang out in Chiang Mai and hippy-dippy north of Thailand for 2 weeks, go to all the great coffee shops, eat the khao soi noodles, and relax. Not run myself, Gregor Brown, ragged. Think about this, apply this to when you're traveling. I loved it, and I think you'll love this concept too. Expecting familiar flavors everywhere. But Americans get upset when spaghetti in Italy isn't like the Olive Garden, or sushi in Japan isn't like those California rolls. So embrace the real thing. That's why you traveled anyway. Try those local dishes that you don't even understand that are on the menu that the chef or the waiter recommends from that location. Anywhere I go, I always ask, hey, what's the local dish here? And without hesitation, I order that dish. Come what may, good or bad, And you know what? More often than not, I come away satisfied and with a great story. And don't even get me talking about the time I ate chicken sashimi in Tokyo. It was great. Assuming everywhere is unsafe, but headlines about pickpocketers often scare people off entire countries. So they avoid places and destinations that are often safer than US cities. Common sense works. Don't let fear kill your adventure. So yeah, showing up for that flight from the Tel Aviv airport 1 month in advance was not one of my smartest travel moments abroad. But that's the thing, we all make mistakes when we're traveling. The key is not to repeat the same mistake twice. From New York?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. You've seen my videos.
I saw your video.
You've liked, you subscribed.
I like it. It's very clear, direct.
Thank you.
Hi.
Where are you from in New York?
Nabila. We're Palestinian. We're from Palestine.
Nice.
We live in New York.
I've been to Jericho.
Yeah, Jericho?
Yeah. There's another mistake Americans make. Overspending. Traveling seems extremely expensive right now, but I've broken down exactly why and how to fix it. So check out this video next. I show you how to avoid those biggest money traps in Europe and beyond, and how to travel smarter without blowing your budget. I'll see you there. Click it next.